We're rolling.
Where's Jack when you need him? He's not very often I need him, but when I need him...
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Nerdbuzzed!
Nerdbuzzed doesn't condone the consumption of alcohol by any persons under the age of 21. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome to Nerdbuzzed, the podcast where we talk about all the nerdy stuff that we care about and drink a cool frosty brew while we're doing it. I'm your host, Marcus Ellinger. With me, as always, every single episode,
Jeremiah Johnson.
That's right. Do you feel like I'm ever going to hit you when I introduce the show? To throw my arms up in the air?
It has crossed my mind.
Okay.
It really has.
I'm really excited.
I haven't thought about that in quite a while, though.
Okay.
I've got the natural twitch. It just happens now. It's instinctive.
I've had enough practice. Yeah, we both had enough practice. Nice.
Awesome.
So, you were kind enough to bring beer again.
Yes.
Yes. This is why you remain on my list of favorite people. One of the reasons. But that's
this
also
is the reason.
Yeah, this is also at the top of the list of reasons why you're at the top of my list of favorite people. But what did you bring us today, Jeremiah?
Today is Drew Brews. This one is the Bomber. Well, it's because it's a Bomber bottle. Hop Session India Pale Ale. There it is. I kind of grabbed it because it was Snoqualmie Pass brewing. So
nice. It's only 4.7.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, nothing wrong with it. I like drinking beer. It just means we get to drink more beer.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna help out Mick after this, so we're gonna drink more beer then. So this is probably a smart decision.
So I'm not sure, but I haven't seen Snoqualmie Falls Brewing in the market for a while.
I want to say maybe I've seen this bottle before, but other than that, I don't recognize them.
Well, I don't know if they're from. It says from Snoqualmie Falls, there. So I'm just curious if it's if they've taken over the Snoqualmie Falls Brewing. Because I have to go check on it now.
Way to do your research before the show.
Well, no,
Where's Jack? Damn it!
I know, right?
Again, it's his fault. It's always Jack's fault.
Well, I said I know the original owners of Snoqualmie Falls Brewing. They sold out, so they sold it off.
Oh, okay. So this might be the people that picked it up.
It might be. I'm thinking.
Okay. Have you had this particular beer?
I have not
before. No. Okay. So no basis for comparison.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen Drew Brew around though, so I don't know how long ago that was.
Yeah, that I guess that's what I was thinking too. I don't specifically remember it saying Drew, but this label's very familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've for sure seen it around. And then the only reason I probably never had it is because it's 4.7. And my magical powers ignore that.
They do make other beers.
Yeah, right, I know.
But yes, I mean, it's the whole magnetism thing. It's like just, whoa.
I know, it's true. That's what happened. My hand just goes to the potent one. I'm really excited to drink a beer. I've been working my butt off all week. I'm really ready for a beer.
Yeah.
This is going to be awesome. Super excited.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Are you trying to get me to feel bad for you about working?
No, I'm trying to get you to progress us drinking a beer. It's got a nice fresh smell to it.
It does. Though. You could smell it when I was pouring it. It was really good. It's very pale and clear in color.
Yeah.
So, your head seems to stick around pretty good well.
A little bit longer, probably because I poured it aggressively because I really want to drink it.
Yeah.
That's what it was. To all the nerds.
Through all the fuss.
Bottoms up. Let's get Nerdbuzzed. Let's get Nerdbuzzed.
Ooh. So that's got kind of a medium malt body, fresh clean malt flavor, and it's little tart, and then real strong with that grassy flavor.
Yeah,
real strong with that grassy flavor. It's kind of interesting.
Almost like grassy and kind of piney.
Slightly, a little bit of evergreen notes.
Yeah, and definitely got a kind of back of your tongue, roof of your mouth, bittery finish to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
this is going to give us bad breath. We're going to have to drink another beer just to clear our breath. Right?
Ow.
Yeah, right.
Ow. Okay.
I think as long as we keep drinking beer, the effects of bad breath won't happen.
Well, so. It's like with eating really good flavorful food and whatnot, they found the cure for onion breath, right?
More onions?
No, just eat garlic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. or drink a super bittery, hoppy beer?
I still don't think that'd fix that.
No, probably not. How do you cure garlic then?
Sure.
Yeah, brush your teeth and go to bed. Start
Yeah.
again tomorrow. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
done for the day.
So what are we going to talk about?
So first off, as always, we love to promote our favorite podcast, and we do have a podcast that is our favorite, and of course, it's our own. So please, follow us on Twitter. Go ahead, give us a hard time there. We'd love to hear you totally banter with us. And you can find us Facebook, all sorts of social media. It's all Nerdbuzzed. We did hit our 100 subscribers
Yes, we did.
on YouTube. It does not mean the link is active yet. I keep checking it. It's still not active. But everything I've looked into says it's going to take a little while. So as soon as it is,
Yeah.
I will start using it. But that's awesome. Thank you so much. And our next very achievable goal is 1,000 subscribers.
Awesome.
Yeah, right? So
Well, hey, this is the first step.
Yeah.
And that's the next. We'll do it.
all it is one more zero.
It is.
Right? It's basically adding one more nothing to our list. It shouldn't be that hard. Come on, people. Subscribe to Pound Town. You can do it.
Since we've been listening to a lot more casts and stuff, and I think ours actually is pretty solid.
Yeah?
I really do. I mean,
That's good.
Technically done, we're pretty good. I have noticed a few, especially when I listened to that last one, a few audio ups and downs.
But we did get new mics. We're using them today.
got
Hopefully
new
they
mics.
sound better.
Yes, please comment.
We
tell
might.
us.
Yes, please let me know how the new mics sound. They might sound a little different in the next couple episodes. We're going to probably tweak some dials a little bit and see what sounds best. But I'm hoping that we'll get a little crisper, richer, sexier sound out of our voice with these. It'll be like we're in the room with you.
Yep.
So feel special.
But
That's how you make us feel.
But I'm saying, I think we do a pretty good job with the content.
Yeah?
I think what we have is good. I think what's going on is good. I think we definitely have the passion here for what's going on.
Yeah.
And the people who do communicate with us have the passion and respond to it well.
Yeah, no, I'm totally into the. I love quantity. Don't get me wrong. Quantity would be amazing, but the people that do listen to the show and follow it, I cannot express to them how much I appreciate it and how dedicated to following the show they are. It's so awesome. It really, really is cool. The people that we have following the show are real quality fans, and it's awesome. I'm so stoked.
great.
It really does. It really makes it feel worth it. It's like that. It keeps fueling the fire to keep doing new shows.
So we've got 4 more people to go before we hit our original goal before we started this.
which was
6
104. Oh, six. Like
Yeah, if you said if we can really affect 6 people, we'd be happy.
okay, nice. Which I would hope we've done in like brief instances.
Oh,
but
yeah.
6 people that we
Yeah,
continually
yeah.
affect, right?
So 4 more, we'll be there.
Yeah, right. So close. I know. I keep telling. We keep talking about like For Honor is our node play that we're gonna
Yes.
play right every month. Well, except for the first part of the year, we kind of got Red Dead obsessed. But we're going to continue 2019 with our free PlayStation game and play one every month. And I keep saying how For Honor's our game now, and it's the one we were playing because Dad was such a big fan of it. He played it all the time when he listened to our show. And so it just seemed fitting to do, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to be our guest and talk about it with us. And I keep saying that show has to be a pre-recorded show, or there will be nobody in the chat.
Yeah.
Right? So we are going to do that one pre-recorded. And plus I want to make sure we get Dad on there and you can hear him and whatever. But that's a big part of it too, because he's in the chat and we're going to lose a third of our chat people. So
Slade, though, he's
Slade has been, he's been in there,
very
pretty reliable.
very
I
constant.
really enjoy the banter with Slade. He's a really good guy, really knowledgeable about superhero stuff. And he's always schooling me on my knowledge. It's awesome. He loves to give me a hard time. Constantly blowing my phone up. Good guy.
nice.
For sure. Have you played For Honor?
I played a very little bit.
Okay.
Basically the little tutorial section at the front.
Did you get through it and it saved? That's the big question.
Like, what's
Like you have to finish the tutorial, I believe, the intro tutorial, and like get to the main menu and everything before you have to do that again. At least you did originally. I don't know now, to be honest with you, since it's been updated.
Well,
but...
so that was the only thing it would let me play while it was downloading.
Oh, okay.
So I went through there. I got through where they're...
Wow, you were able to download the game and play the game
they had
while it was downloading? That's impressive.
Well, there was 3 downloads
Okay.
for it, and it was like there was one that was like the main game file, then another one which was there was like a 17 gig, and then like a 23 gig or something. I can't remember what the numbers were exactly, but there was like the first one finished and installed, and while the second one was working its way through, then there was a little update patch that had to get done, so that one stopped the other one from going.
Okay.
And I haven't turned my PlayStation on since Tuesday.
Wow.
So, but last Tuesday it was still downloading that second one.
Yeah.
So I sent you the pictures and everything.
Yeah.
It's like it's still going.
Was it? Is it in rest mode? Like, is it going to finish downloading, or do you have to turn it back on?
It's
to
in rest
finish?
mode, but I had to go reset the routers and get everything going again, and then go tell it to test the internet connection and reconnect. And
Awesome.
yeah.
So the internet monster is still very much.
Oh no,
alive.
dude, this internet monster is leveled up so bad.
It's Ultimecia.
It's Ultimecia after being a grind player.
Yeah. Nice. Very nice.
Yes.
So
Which,
far,
if you listen to our episodes, you'd get that reference.
yes. There is an internet monster, and it's very real, people. So far, my experience with For Honor, I kind of have the same issues as far as connectivity. Seems to be the biggest issue. I'm really sometimes I can connect with Fwant is the main Adam. Father Adam is the main person that I've played with, but it's only been one time. Took us like 5 times of trying to connect before it actually connected, and it even said we had horrible NAT type, and it was like, this may affect your gameplay, and was warning us that we couldn't connect. The other day I tried to play with Eric, Mead Master, and Mick from Stupid Mystic Forest. Did I get that right? Mythic, damn it. Stupid Mythic Forest. And even though the NAT type said amazing or good or whatever, bright green, would not connect. The whole time. We tried so many different ways at different times. It's so frustrating.
Because I got the whole what do you call it? Group text.
Yeah.
That everybody was chatting on about it, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, cool, whatever. And then so I checked it, went into the PlayStation app and checked it online and see who was playing what. I was like, dude, nobody's playing For Honor except for Eric. What's going on?
Yeah, well, and that's because he was trying to finish some sort of download with it. I did find out how teeny the internet monster is in my house. To rub that in a little bit, everybody decided to download the Apex Legends game because we knew we could all play that. It was free. So we went to download it. Everybody else took minimum 30 minutes, 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the whole game. Theirs was 30 minutes to be able to play, right? Another whatever for the next 20 gigs, 6 minutes, whole entire thing. Download it. Done. Yeah, I could hear them steaming on the other end. They were like, what? That's not true. I was like, all right, I'm going to send you a screenshot because I'm not making this up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had the same face that you just made.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spoiled. We're spoiled. We pay for it.
You're spoiled.
Yeah.
Or
spoiled.
you and Kristen, yeah.
Yes, we are spoiled.
Less than most people do, by the way.
What?
You and your bargaining abilities.
For what? What do you mean? Oh, yes, I do pay less. Yeah, because I go in and give them a hard time every single year.
Yeah.
And get the promotional for a year rate every single year. And it even says on there, so when I go in and I complain to the people, I'm like, come on, I've been with you for like 20 years. You should offer this promotional rate as like a loyalty thing, not just to new people, or I'm going to go somewhere else. I have to tell them that. They look it up on their computer, and the duder there this last time goes, oh, yeah, there's some side note about a loyalty discount on here, so I guess I'm just going to give it to you.
You've complained enough that they've had to make...
Every year, every 12 months after I go in and complain, I have to go do it again, and they will then give me the promotional rate again, which is like $20 a month. It's a big chunk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. I said either bump me up to the next speed and give me the promotional rate for that.
Is there another speed for here?
I think there's one more now. You can get full gig speed now. I'm not quite up to full gig. It's like I top out at like...
You're at 250 meg or something like
250, but I've gotten, I think, upwards of almost 500 before.
Oh, my God.
Maybe that's in the notes, too. I don't know.
I know when I came in here and updated my computer when I had to do all that initial setup stuff.
Yeah.
And I benchmarked it. I was like getting like 257 meg or something. It was like...
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yes. Yeah, that's why it took 6 minutes to download 30 gigs or whatever it was.
And I want to say it was like 30 meg upload.
Oh, maybe, yeah. The upload isn't too bad.
Which is insane upload.
Yeah, upload is usually, that's where you really sacrifice. Like, never even closest to the download.
Yeah, but your upload is faster than I've ever had down at the farm for download.
Yeah. I get it. I know. I don't mean to rub it in, but I'm going to keep doing it.
I know. And yes, you do.
Yeah, it's true. So keep playing For Honor, right? I'm curious to talk about it with Dad because there are things I really like about it, and there's things I have big issues with. But I'm excited to dive into that with him and really just chat with him in general. It'll be fun to just get feedback. And he wanted to do a meet and greet. This is the best I can do.
For now.
I'm stoked to do it. Yeah. So, but it'll be really cool. I'm so much appreciation to him for being the loyal follower he's been this long. The least we could do is make an episode that features him, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I can get a sweet picture of him, like thumbs up for the thumbnail or whatever. It'll be awesome. But for this episode, we're going to talk about a couple things. The first off, we went and saw a movie.
Yes, we
did.
did.
We didn't see it together. I was a little bummed about that. But
Well, I have to get my schedule back to matching before it's...
yes, it's true. We're trying to juggle everybody's schedules here to make everything work on Nerdbuzzed and keep bringing a quality nerdy show to you. Emphasis on nerdy.
Yes, and thank you for doing it right at my lunch break at work, so that way I can like at least jump in for half an hour.
Yeah, yes, that's why you're here every episode, bro. But we went and saw Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah, Angle.
I kept it. I still kept Angle.
I saw that.
Yeah, I did that. Just,
I saw that.
Yeah, that was just. I love that. That's like Jack's favorite thing is to point out my shortcomings in spelling. There's many of them.
Oh yes,
It's not a hard thing to point out.
that's the one thing though about the Facebook posts and stuff. I lost my login on it, and I never reestablished it.
Yeah,
And well, I don't use the app
and
anymore.
I misspell things all the time.
Well, I used to put posts up and stuff, and a couple of times they were so bad, and it's like I didn't want the edit list to be that long.
Yeah,
I just went in and deleted it,
yeah.
saved the picture, deleted it, put the picture back up,
Yeah.
retyped it.
Forgive me. I'm not an idiot. I swear. I act like it all the time. That was always the biggest thing I struggled with spelling, for sure. Like it is just, for some reason, my brain will not click with spelling. It just will not do it. So deal with it, I guess.
Yeah, well, I was saying it's like a lot of people like call you out on it or something like that. I never did that. I would just go in and just do it, just change it.
Yeah. Well, but you have fixed like does. I can spell does now. Remember that for the longest time?
Okay, that one I got sick of.
Yeah, you're like, dude, it's not dose, it's does. You're an idiot. I was like, you're right, but I could fix that one.
Well, that's the one that
Baby steps.
That's one that stands out. Like, just
Yeah.
just in this routine. Like once or twice, that's fine. But it's
every
every
single time, for
multiple times in the same block.
My biggest fear in life is any sort of game where I have to write down my answer and somebody else has to read it.
Oh.
Because if that's the way you guess to win, like not a board game, but like a group game or whatever, right?
Is it
that's
like
the way
the
you
Jack
guess.
TV thing?
Yeah, well, and if that's how you guess the answer, like you have to guess who wrote that answer, I always get pegged out because it takes the person a half hour to decipher my Marcus code of an answer, right? So clearly, I don't even need you to finish. You got 3 words in, it's clearly Marcus, right? I hate those games because he's the idiot that can't spell.
Well, I have my moments where it's words I know and just completely bleh. And then they like, I don't know what they did with like one of these more recent updates on the Android keyboard and all that.
Yeah.
It's like they took the shift and like made everything up just slightly. So like my normal finger taps are now like just a half of a word width lower compared to where they need to be. So I need to type higher. And I don't know what that is, or if that was something with my phone or what. But so like when I'm typing now, I'm hitting the space button without realizing it, or hitting other letters. So it's like it'll be like thibbit, and then it'll autocorrect to something like the owl.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's like, hey guys, the owl, and then it's like has nothing to do with whatever word.
Yeah.
And I'm getting all sorts of weird stuff like that all the time now. It's like, dude, when it's that bad, just leave it that bad, and I'll go fix it.
Yeah, right? Because it looks like a real word, and I might miss it now. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I have to at least, come on, after you read something I wrote, you feel a little better about your spelling?
Oh, dude, you make me feel great.
Awesome. At least somebody can take a positive. So, Alita Battle Angel. Should we talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay, spoiler free first, right? If we want to say spoiler free, I left the theater, really enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I don't know if it's fair to say everybody should go see it and everybody's going to absolutely love this movie. I think it catered to a fan of of an anime, right? Like,
was gonna
it
say,
nailed that part of
That's
it.
what I was going to say. Spoiler free, this is the best adaptation of a shonen manga or anime, period.
Yeah, including the parts you might not like from an anime are like
Yes.
in this movie, right? Like,
Exactly.
to a fault, it is done
It is,
that well.
it's what I ask. It's what I want to see them do with video game movies.
Yeah,
Just rip it straight from what I want and put it on screen
yeah.
and watch it. And
That's why, like, I would struggle with saying to like Joe Blow off the street that doesn't know anime or isn't going to like appreciate those awful moments in the movie. Like, I can almost appreciate it because I've seen it a million times.
Yeah.
Like, regurgitated in animes and stuff, but to watch it in live action form, and I think done.
well, to be fair, it's
pretty
still
well.
very animated.
It is very animated. Yes, and that's one of the issues I have with it is there are moments where the CGI in it is phenomenal and it's done really, really well. And then there's moments where the live actor standing next to Alita is obviously standing in front of a green screen and like a digital background, and Alita is obviously not there, and like it's like terrible green screen. But there are moments where it's like the opposite of that, and it looks really, really awesome.
Now, to be fair, those moments are not a lot.
No. But when they're there, they're glaringly obvious, right? Like there were moments that
Well,
kind of pull you out of it a little bit.
One of the earlier scenes in it was the foyer of the doctor's office where that was one of the ones that was clear. Like when the nurse, the other gal, steps up to it and sees, and
Yeah.
it's like that was like, okay, that looks.
Yeah. Most of it was when Alita was with somebody else that wasn't like heavily CGI'd, like the doctor or the nurse or her like I keep wanting to call him a street rat. The guy that she meets, right? It's like the Aladdin, basically, right? He reminded me of that character a lot in the movie. But I really think as far as anime adaptation to live action, I really don't think I've seen anything done as true to it as this.
No, it is straight from it. That's what I've been getting at. And are we getting spoilers now, or?
Yeah, I just want to. I think for me, I really did love it. I came away again. My cheeks were sore with the moments that I laughed at the cheesiness of it. It made me cry from laughing so hard at certain points. I really did come away enjoying this movie, and as a fan of anime, and I think even I think especially that like '90s era. Where I think it is still kind of traditional. We don't get into that next phase of anime still.
Yeah.
It really captures a lot of those classic things. It's kind of tropey, I think, if you're into anime stuff, but I think everything at that time had those cliche things in it, right? And the movie has all that stuff, but it really does it in such a true anime way that as a fan of anime stuff, I was able to pick up on all that, and I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed those moments in it, but I could see those turning off other people. So by summed up, I really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's for everyone, but I thought it was good.
I loved it. I loved it for the same reasons like I liked the Deadpool originally, because it was just so true to it. It was like watching a comic book.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing. It's like watching a manga or an anime, and I think we touched on in the past is just the animation. So, but a Japanese animation. All the previews and the stuff and the art just seems like showcase her giant eyes.
Yeah.
And it was really kind of bugging me originally, but once you see it on screen and moving with and interacting with everything else, dude, it fits. It fits.
I would
well.
say that was one thing I did appreciate was that she wasn't like overly sexualized
No.
in the movie, which I did appreciate, right? Which again I think speaks to a little bit more of that kind of traditional anime where they weren't so in your face with that, right? Like it wasn't so much in your face, like boobs bouncing and like there was still like the sexy girl in the show who was there for that reason, but that wasn't the focus of every single girl in the show, right?
Well, Robotech or Macross, like theirs, they had that. They had the way they got that through was they had the shower scene.
Yeah,
so it was like the fog would cover the certain areas, and it would just pan up through it, and then all of a sudden the fog would move just a little bit. Oh, you catch something like, oh my god, I saw a boob.
Yeah.
But it was realistic to what real boobs are.
Yeah, for sure.
It wasn't the boobs weren't bigger than her head.
Yeah, and she didn't stop moving, but her boobs kept going.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I did appreciate that about it for sure. I did think that her big eyes and made her face look kind of weird, like I kept wanting to say almost like a cartoon rabbit or something, right? Like a like a stuffed animal kind of doll rabbit or something with these big eyes, and she kind of made her teeth kind of look a little bucky a little bit with it. And it was almost like I expected her to have ears or something in some parts of it. It was a little bit weird at first.
I was
but
like,
you get used to it
first,
pretty
but
quick.
it's like I said, they did a really good job of animating it in and making it work
Yeah.
with the character, and it just became that was just an emotional conduit, I should say,
Yeah.
for the character.
Yeah.
And they really focused a lot on her eyes, and as far as the emotion, which is the idea behind the big eyes in anime originally. Because if you I used to have they had the book The Marvel Way and stuff for drawing comics and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I used to have a couple of mangas that were done in the same manner for it, or the Marvel Method. That's what it was, the Marvel Method. But I've done some manga stuff, and like for manga creation, and like the one thing every one of them had was a whole section describing why are the eyes so big, and this is why we make the eyes so big, and it is because eyes are the most expressive part of the body,
Yeah. I could see that.
and that's where they want to get the emotion across, and that's what it is. But it's, I think with current day animation, it's gotten ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because eyes were bigger than a normal person's eyes in like the classic stuff like Macross and whatnot, but they were not nearly what they are nowadays.
Yeah.
They're not the Mickey Mouse eyes.
No, for sure. Well, it's like the boob thing.
Yeah.
Like as much as the boobs have grown in anime, their eyes have grown too.
Yeah.
Right? Totally. I think I guess if we sum up Alita, like what it is basically about, it's about this a cyborg that has been basically cast into the garbage. This doctor guy finds her.
It's a cybernetic society.
Yes,
So
like it's pretty common.
society
right?
is, yes.
Yeah, where people have upgrades here and
She
there
was
and everything.
and it's post-apocalyptic.
Yeah,
So they're working with old technology. They're not They're not creating new technology now.
yeah,
They're almost reset. So this is like advanced for what we are now, but is a step backwards for what they were.
yeah,
And then her body and her core had survived from the fall, from the beginning.
yeah. From the heyday of the technology, right?
technology,
Like the
yeah.
lost. She is literally the diamond in the rough.
Yes.
Right? And the doctor takes her in, kind of rebuilds her, and he has his own motivations for all that, if we're still avoiding spoilers. And it turns out that as she becomes more self-aware, she starts to dive into her past, and it turns up that she's this awesome, badass warrior, basically.
Yeah.
Like soldier, I guess maybe is a better word for it. But that is basically the premise for the movie, right there, right?
Yep.
And she discovers that more and more as the movie goes. She gets more and more badass as the movie goes. Very anime. Mm-hmm. So if we dive into more specifically things in the movie,
So spoilers.
yeah, right.
Do we have to
Spoilers
do the
alert.
spoiler
I
thing?
don't know where it is. Oh wait, there it is. I can do it. Wait.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Wait. There you
There
go.
we go.
Spoilers. You can probably hear me click the mouse too.
Yeah, probably.
So, I guess what did you think? Again, the CGI, there were moments that kind of bugged me. I think as far as Alita in general goes, though, because she is like a real person, right, that they've augmented with CGI, I thought herself was done really well. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like it didn't ever look like her eyes didn't match with everything else that was going on,
Yes.
or like nothing stood out as far as her. It wasn't until she was next to somebody that wasn't CGI'd at all, right? One of my favorite characters was totally the Doctor. I was actually pretty impressed with how many like reputable actors they got to be in this movie, right? Like I can't remember the guy's name who played the Doctor, but he's like the real asshole German from Inglourious Bastards, right? And he's like totally well-known actor that I would assume you got to pay a pretty penny to have him in a movie. I don't know what James Cameron or Robert Rodriguez, like what favors they called in to like get him in these movies. There had to have been some of that.
There was a whole article about that.
Like it had to have been him calling in favors.
And so all of the big name actors that have been pulled in, and most of the A-list actors only had cameo parts.
Yeah.
Or small parts, bit parts, and that was in their bid for a sequel.
Yeah.
So they brought them in, said, "Hey, here's these parts. We don't know if it's going to happen, yada yada yada. But will you do this for us?" And then, I And I had his name before he sat down, and it just all of a sudden, psst, gone.
Which one?
Oh, the doctor at the end.
Oh, Edward Norton.
Edward Norton, yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Who gets revealed as him at the end, which I wasn't really sure until he actually took off his glasses.
I knew it was him right away as soon as it panned to him, and
Yeah.
it pissed me off that they took his glasses off just so you could see it was Edward Norton.
Oh yeah,
That was as bad as the Jay and Silent Bob. Hey kids, it's Mark Hamill.
yeah.
Splashing across the screen. It's like, really?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it would have been cool to not do that.
Yeah, just keep him just staring down at the glasses. Because those kind of glasses thing is well, to an anime trope. I think they broke it by having him take them off. Because that's something that would have been cybernetically attached. He would have had the
for sure. And I like the ambiguity of leaving them on. Right, that would have been better also. I really liked a lot of the fighting in it. I thought it was done really well. One of my favorite scenes from the movie is when before she has her badass body that they find, right? And she's got the doctor's intended for his daughter that died one. When she's fighting that first like big dude with the chains and stuff, one of my favorite scenes is when she's like flying through the like swirling tunnel of him and she's like reaching out to get him. And it looks like she's going to kill him. And then all of a sudden she falls to the ground and her body's been like severed into all these pieces. Because even as you watching it, as just in the theater, you didn't expect that moment to happen to her. Like you expect her to do this sweet finishing move.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden she crumbled apart and had one arm and a torso. And that was it, right? And she was still badass. Like even after that was really cool. Just crammed her hand into his eyeball and ripped it off at the wrist. It's just like... That was my favorite scene in the whole movie. That was so awesome. I loved the like, I immediately was on this high of like, she is so awesome. And then immediately down because of like, wow, she got annihilated. And then immediately back up because of the hand break off.
But
right?
you knew as soon as she left and signed up to be the Reaper, whatever it is, the bounty hunter.
Yeah.
That she'd already found the other body. She went and signed up to be on this. You knew she was going to lose her power, lose her ability. She was going to get annihilated and then have to be put in the body. That was like, you knew that's what's going to happen.
Yes, for sure.
And the way they went about that, that's like the one thing that really kind of bugged me. It was like, okay, this is... I think you could have played that up a little better.
Like, what do you mean? As far as, did you like that scene? Where like his tentacles and all that stuff happened?
I love the way the scene was animated and stuff. I wish they would have had a more clear, this is what having hit her.
Yeah.
And then see like have like recollection come over her face or something that, oh no, but never happened.
Yeah. She was as shocked as we were, like as the people watching the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. But just the way they set up for the whole, now that said, the bar scene there that led up to that whole bar fight scene was freaking cool.
It was super cool. I like the way she just came in as a badass too, right? She's like, hey, basically follow me or you're with me or against me, basically is what she said. And multiple duders stepped up and she just served it to him. Like it was nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. Until the big dude came in. Right?
Yeah.
And it is weird how much the movie blatantly sets up for a sequel. Like even when we did our last show, we had the comment in there that somebody was like, except for the ending, right? And they hated it. To be honest with you, I absolutely love the ending of this movie. I think it's done so well. I think it's great because as the movie got to the end, I kept thinking, we've been here for a while and these major things have happened. Like her, whatever boyfriend guy dies, right? Horrible CGI, by the way, when his head was stuck on the little robot body. I hated that whole scene of them running the cable to the high society, literally.
Zolom or whatever it is.
Yeah, the Zolom. I kept wanting to call it Zion, right? But it's the Zolom.
Or whatever it is. I could be wrong with that too.
I was so stoked when he died, right? It was like, good. I don't want that to continue dragging out through this movie. But then as soon as he died, I kept thinking, we've been here for a while, right? Like, how are they going to wrap this movie up? And I felt like they did a pretty good job with pacing before that and like adding an appropriate amount of stretching out a scene for whatever impact, but then speeding up other scenes for impact. And when it got to the end, I kept thinking, are they just going to cram everything in here in the last 20 minutes and I'm not going to care as much as they did for the first half of the movie. But then the movie just ends.
Yeah, which is what anime does.
Totally. Again, it's this like super nod to like that first season of anime that maybe they don't get a second season, right? But I absolutely loved it. I'm so glad that it just kind of leaves you to your own imagination of what happens after that, right? All these big name characters will potentially come up if there ever is a sequel. I kind of hope there isn't, just because I really appreciated all that aspect of it, right?
Yeah,
The things glorified in it, I think they did really well, and the things that they could have focused all their energy on but didn't, and let it be more ambiguous, I really appreciated, right? Like all those big name actors that didn't get all that screen time and everything. I loved how that was all handled. I really appreciated it.
I'm trying to think of all of them. It was Edward Norton. He obviously was the doctor, the evil doctor, the main goal.
Yeah.
The gal in the training. What's her name? Something Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah. Michelle?
Yeah.
Is that right? Michelle from Fast and Furious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was doing the training
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
And that was hard to figure her out. I couldn't tell by the look because of the big eyes, but as soon as I saw her in the second scene where they were doing it, her voice gave her away for sure. But that was cool. She's in there. But even the ex-wife of the like good doctor guy, what's her name?
I'd seen her before. I just couldn't place it.
Yeah. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Somebody will know out there.
Yeah.
But
yell at us, please.
Yeah, right. But should have been more
You
prepared.
guys are such bad fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
She was the really hot chick from The Rocketeer. That's what I always
Oh,
remember
yeah,
her from,
that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Because she had really big anime boobs. But I really liked how she had such a small part in it, too. And I think if they did have a sequel, her character would be much more relevant, right? Like, she's the one that is connected to the Zalem more than the Doctor is. And, like the Doctor cut ties with her and cut ties with Zalem and did more street-level stuff while she stayed connected. And if there was a sequel, she would be like that connection between the two for Alita, right? Like, I think she'd be a much bigger character in the sequel. But I love how she wasn't overemphasized.
She's kind of in pieces now.
Well, but it's all about cybernetic stuff.
I know.
Right? Yeah. She might come back because the Doctor builds her up or whatever, and then can't kill her in the final scene because it's my daughter, whatever. Like, has all her emotional attachments. Yeah. Totally, dude.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the ending. Did you like the ending?
It was okay. I mean, it was, as soon as they went back to the arena, I was like, oh, dude, she's totally going to be the BA through the whole thing there.
Yeah, the Powerball.
And I would have, as soon as it showed her, suiting up and then she just rolling into the arena for the end.
Yeah.
I was hoping they were going to cut it there. And stop before she got out there and then raise the sword and everything. Because they already had everybody in the stands and did that, and then had her in the locker room and then just rolling out through the tunnel.
Yeah.
And I think that would have made the best ending personally. But I'm perfectly fine with the way they ended it.
Yeah. You don't mind that it is just this blatant cliffhanger.
Oh, no. It would have been a cliffhanger the other way, too. But I mean, that goes back as far as when we were talking with God, I'm so bad at this anymore. The Blade Runner.
Yeah.
So when he died on the steps there,
yeah,
they should have left it at that.
I completely agree.
You know what I'm saying? I think if they cut it at the tunnel, it would have been the same effect.
Yeah, I could see that totally.
But other than that, I think it would have been great. Just like cut it at the tunnel, and then maybe have the Edward Norton just staring down. That's all it needs to be.
Yeah.
Instead of just her just doing the whole Babe Ruth calling him out.
Yeah. That does kind of signify that she has like hit the top rank. I mean, I guess they are calling her out the whole time. You already know, right? And you knew before that scene ever happened that that's what she was going to do. I really loved the incorporation of the Powerball. It seemed so anime to me. It really did. I thought it was super cheesy, but I love that they stuck with it. I did think a part of the movie that was kind of interesting, which I guess Robert Rodriguez he's known for making really violent movies. Right? Yeah. But he's also made like Spy Kids and like
I forgot about
kids
that actually.
Versions of those kind of movies, right? And this movie's really interesting how it feels like both of those. Like there's moments in it, like when they're practicing,
Yeah.
and they're like as the little street rat gang, and she's getting involved, and she's trying the Powerball the first time, or I think is it called Powerball? I can't remember. What is it called?
Like Blitzball or something.
Blitzball, thank you.
Or not? No,
No,
Blitzball.
that's Final Fantasy.
That's the Enerkind.
Yeah. Whatever the ball game is that they play,
yeah.
right? It's basically roller derby.
Blood ball or something.
Yeah. But when they're doing that and they're practicing on the street and everything, I really got that vibe, right? Of like a movie that I was watching when I was a kid. That's Final Fantasy X.
Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
That's like the one thing.
It felt so like that, though, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought of as soon as I saw it the first time. Other than it's swimming in that one, but you know.
Yeah.
The ball looks similar.
Yeah. There were scenes in it like that, and scenes where like she is with her. I don't know anybody's name, but when she's with her street rat Aladdin friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
That feel very juvenile, and they have this like. Maybe Willow is like a good comparison even, where it's Willow has this like juvenile feel to it, but it has some really more mature and adult elements to it also, where I don't think it's necessarily for a little kid, but it's also not for like a super like more adult oriented, that's all I care about person.
When I saw Willow the last time, I was like, I watched this as a kid.
Yeah, well, I think that there's that element to this movie where there really are parts of it that feel very juvenile, which I think makes sense because she's basically starting out as a child again, right?
Yes.
Having to relearn. And it captured that really well, but I can't say that I would take my nephew
So you want to talk about bad CGI? The chocolate scene. Biting the chocolate. That first bite on the chocolate was like so bad.
Yes.
I was like, oh God, this is harsh.
What did you think of the Doctor's hammer? I loved his hammer.
I loved the sickle or the side.
Yeah, it was like a jet propulsion.
Reaper.
Yeah. It reminded me of... in Dying Light, you can get things like that.
Oh, okay.
You can get a sledgehammer that has like the boost on the back, right, as you hit. And I thought of that right away.
I thought it was cool.
I loved it. It's so impractical, but I loved it. It's so anime, right? It so was.
Yes.
And again, I really can't emphasize enough that, let's say you like Alita, right? And you're not a fan of anime. Go watch some anime, dude. Right?
Yeah, right.
Like, totally. Like, if you like Alita and you've not checked out anime... There are so many elements of this movie that are classic cliche anime things that you're going to find. And if those are the moments you loved in this movie, you will love so many animes that are out there. There definitely a series will draw it out more, which I give Alita a big nod for.
Oh, they crammed it into a tighter space.
They totally did, but they didn't do it like offensively in any way, which I think is what the other movies that have attempted to do anime stuff have failed at.
Ghost in the Shell.
Right? Yeah. Like, even though it had really awesome scenes that were ripped right from the movie and they were phenomenal, it was the stuff between them
but like some of those scenes, what made them phenomenal was finishing them out.
Yeah.
And they just never finished them out. They just we'll give you a splash of it, literally, because the splashing water scene, never mind. Fight scene. But they give a splash of it, and then that's it. It's like, if you're going to do the scene, pay homage to the whole scene and make what makes the scene click part of it.
Yeah.
The Ghost of the Shell, the going through the water scene and down the digital Tokyo, the Neo Tokyo scene.
Yeah.
How it's just kind of trash, but it's yet amazing featured and all this other stuff. And when they got that's when they're doing that.
It's kind of like this a little bit, where it's like it is advanced future, but it's like the slums of the future.
Yeah. And but like I said, this I don't have any source material for Alita to go follow.
I've seen some manga stuff, like just from what I've tried to look up from it. I think it came out in like the 1990.
I'm not sure.
The movie feels that way. I want to remember. I think that's what I read.
Cameron picked up the rights to this a long time ago.
Yes, he's been working to do this for a long time.
Yeah.
And I know that him and Robert Rodriguez worked with the original creator. So he was, not that he was directly involved, but he did show up to set and they kind of showed him what their ideas were. And he basically gave it his blessing. He was like, no, I get it. And even Robert Rodriguez, I saw an interview with him where he said, making something like this into a movie form, there are things that you have to focus on and there's things that just have to go. Like, I have a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
And so I'm really trying to be careful here to include all the parts that really matter, and especially to the fans of this, but also that matter to me and James, that are important to us in the film, but also keep it like well-rounded as a movie, right? And he said that's a real struggle when you're readapting something that's already been created that has such a passionate following. It's like you have to be really selective because you don't have, minimum 12 episodes, 24 episodes to like come up with a season to flesh out a whole story. So you have to do it in these little finite ways. And after the interview and seeing the movie, I have to totally give them credit that I think they pulled that off really well.
Yeah,
they really
did a real good job of the adaptation, and there's definitely scenes and parts in it where it does feel a little rushed, and often those seem to tie in with the cheesier animation.
Yeah, which really for me is closer to the end. I think as the movie started to get closer to the end, which was my biggest fear, was that there's going to be some climactic thing that happens in 20 minutes and the movie's over.
So the bigger dude, the big bad, when he got his new body, I never felt like his new body was animated as well. No. I mean, the hand scenes, those were all animated really well with those.
Yeah.
But his whole body, his first body, I thought was cool. It didn't fit him as well.
Yeah.
I thought the next body fit him, his character, and what it was better, which clearly was why they made it that. But,
yeah.
Ooh, excuse me. But his first body just didn't fit him well. But I thought it was better animated.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. Yeah. Well, the other one was a little more gaudy, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's totally over the top.
And again,
that's anime. I mean...
Yes, totally. I really came away from this movie with a big... I think so far, especially for anime, 2019, we're on a big high, man.
Oh, yeah.
Broly, awesome. Right? Love that movie. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Ball Super especially for giving us something that is such a gem, right?
Thank you, Super, for something super.
Yeah, totally. But also just like thank you, because that is the original creator who finally has input and gets to give the fans what they wanted, what he's wanted us to have, right? Again, I think this is kind of a similar story with Alita because James Cameron has been wanting to do this forever.
Yeah.
Like this is I want to say it's something like 15 years.
Something
that he's
like that,
owned the rights, maybe even more. This is something he's always wanted to do. I think Robert Rodriguez is a great fit to do it with. I think he's really good.
I was a little nervous at first.
Were you?
I really was.
I didn't know what to expect.
Robert Rodriguez is very familiar with putting female leads in action roles.
Yeah.
Which is great. And that part right there, I was on a high for. I was like, awesome. He's good for that. But I didn't want to see the comedic play up of the battle scenes like they do with like the Mexican and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that's he kind of tends to have that for most of his action scenes.
Yeah.
Is that just comedic action. And I was worried that's what we were going to get this whole time. And I'm like, I didn't know how all that would translate to a battle manga.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you listen to those, they take that part of it very seriously. And it's all about I am being true to who you are, and I am what I'm doing, and all, because this sounds really technical descriptions that I'm giving here.
It's like me describing beer.
Yeah, but it's like they're really into it. They're really focused and determined. That's a good way to put it. They're so focused and determined on how their outcome is. It's not about the playing with it. It's solely the outcome. And like for Dragon Ball, it's about powering up and being bigger and smashing harder.
Yeah.
And
finding the next guy that'll hit back.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And
I think of One Punch Man really as the definitive anime that sums up the irony of all animes.
Yes.
Right? It totally is. It's like the goal of so many animes is to be badass and the most powerful, but then you have One Punch Man where it's like, once you get there, what do you do?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, who do I fight now?
You go shopping.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I love One Punch Man specifically for that. Right? It's none of the others really highlight that. There's a new villain that's stronger. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One Punch Man is that. He is basically the not a villain, but he's the strongest hero for the villains to keep coming at.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the opposite.
Clearly so. And Goku would still take him, by the way. Anyway.
Just because that's how the show has to end.
What?
Anything with Goku
has
to end with him winning.
Right.
And of course showing up and wanting to befriend them and fight them again later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's classic.
I loved it. That was like one of my favorite parts of Broly.
Yeah. My favorite part of Broly totally was that last line when he looked at him and he said, "You can call me Kakarot."
Oh,
Because in all the other movies, that's basically all he says is Kakarot over and over. He gets raged and angry. He never said it in that whole movie until Goku was the one that called himself that and said, "You can call me that."
Nice.
Which I thought was such a nod to the ones we'd already gotten, right?
Uh-huh.
It was done really well. I really feel the same about this Alita movie. Again, I really feel like I should emphasize that I don't necessarily think it means that everybody... I don't think just because you're a Robert Rodriguez fan or you're a James Cameron fan...
I think if you're a Robert Rodriguez fan, this is not the movie to see.
Yeah, maybe not.
It doesn't have Robert Rodriguez's humor touch, and which is what most people watch.
Which is campy. I think of him...
It's
they're great, but they're
and
campy.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I love his movies, but I was my initial concern was that's what it was going to be.
Well, and I think that's because he took it from the approach of trying to be respectful.
Yeah.
Right? Like he wasn't trying to spoof something that, to be fair, there's a lot of spoofy stuff in this, right?
Yeah.
Because it is cliched anime stuff. But I think...
And given its time and date that it was, you said the source material was.
Yeah.
I'm
pretty sure it was very... I think it's either late 80s, early 90s. I want to say it was 1990.
One of my coworkers, when they announced that this was going to be happening, he's like, "I've got the box set. I've had it for a long time. Check it out." And he brought it to work and had to show me a little bit. And I was like,
Yeah.
"That's cool, but you're weird."
Yeah. You're a nerd. Your eyes glazed over, basically.
Yeah, they did.
That was his super nerd moment.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been into this the way it was.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, okay, this is cool. And I started looking into it more. Okay, I'm liking this more. And then I brought it up to you, and you're like, it looks okay.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about it either. Well, and then I started watching interviews with him, and we watched it the week after it came out, right? So I was able to watch interviews with him and that kind of stuff, which actually was as enjoyable for me as watching the movie. I really enjoyed what they had to say about
I
it.
still thought that was funny. I was like literally tying my shoes to leave out the door to go watch it when you texted me.
I'm going to go see this tomorrow. And you're like, sweet, I'm going to see it now.
Yeah, I was like, I was just thinking about heading out right now.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And I would have loved to go with you, but I was so tired. I've been so tired, man. But the other thing I do think that is worth noting about this, and I think especially with, again, I mentioned my issues with Wonder Woman on our last show, and we have Captain Marvel coming up, and there is this big drive to have empowering female roles, right? Which I'm all over. I totally think that they should be done. But it's tough to do when you're making a movie that is so heavily emphasized on delivering that message, right? Like I think the message can get lost in the attempt to deliver it, maybe, right? Like it doesn't come across as well delivered as it could. It seems forced in a little bit and like overemphasized. Which I think is a fault of Wonder Woman's. But I think, like, to James Cameron's credit, even like in Terminator, right? When you have Sarah Connor, right? Like, she is this badass female role that doesn't necessarily come off as this, like, super sex appealed, like, look at me and my sexiness type chick, right? Like, she doesn't use that to get through everything and through the whole movie.
Well, Ripley.
Yeah, totally, right? Like none of these... they're really good at making that character that is just a strong character, right? You don't necessarily want to get in their pants, but yes, you want them on your side when we're going to go kick ass, right? Which I have a lot of respect for.
That's not the first thing that comes to mind.
No, totally. And I think that is done.
Don't get me wrong, though. I had a huge crush on Ripley.
Oh, totally. Yes, totally. But
I was glad to see her in Avatar.
Yeah. Well, and I even think Avatar is another kind of an example of it. Maybe that one I think is a little more sexualized because I do think, I don't remember what the Avatar chick's name was, but she's definitely sexualized, so the other guy will be attracted to her. I think that's probably one of the other end of the spectrums for them. But yeah, even like Robert Rodriguez is pretty good about that too, where it's not done with that emphasis, and I think Alita has done really well that way. Like, I don't know that maybe that was their heavy-handed message through the whole thing, which maybe is why it came across so subtly in the movie. But I think it's nice to see something done like that without that heavy-handed message, I guess, right? It's tricky to do. I think especially in a movie like this, and in the superhero movies, like, it's tough for a movie like that to be so message heavy.
I think that maybe this is showing that the change is happening. So it was message heavy before.
Yeah.
But now it's just they're just doing it.
Yeah.
They're not delivering the message, which means if they're doing it, then and it's being accepted, they don't need to deliver the message. The message is gotten.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel like if the message is a little more ambiguous, but this point is still made, I almost give, it's like, you know, more credit to those people then. Like you pulled it off without making that the emphasis.
Well, it's like you're going to excuse me. You're going to
the beer kind of makes me burpy too.
Yeah. But no, you're going to if you're driving a message, and I don't care what message it is, down people's throats, the people that need to hear it are the ones that are going to reject it. And the stronger you drive it down there, you know, force it, the more it's going to be rejected.
Yeah. No, totally valid point. Yeah.
You know, and in this case, it's like you can have a female lead that's doing great.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not pushing it as, I don't think they ever once focused on that it's a female that's doing it.
Yeah.
It's just accepted. It's accepted. And it's another thing, okay?
I think that's part of the reason why James Cameron was such a fan of it and wanted to make it. I think there's something in him that enjoys that empowered female role, right? But I really appreciate how he doesn't make it a message movie in that way.
Yeah.
Right? You don't feel like you don't feel like you're being lectured on it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that just made me think of another point in this thing, and another anime trope is you start the movie and it just starts. There's no backstory. There's no history to the world. You're figuring that out as you're watching the movie.
Yeah.
They don't describe everything. It's just assumed you know it. You know the lore. You know the history. Why do we need to tell you? This is the way it is. Why do you question things? This is just the way the world is.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Oh, which I think you're meant to. Like, I think this movie is meant for people that are anime fans.
Yeah.
It blatantly is. This is a love affair.
But that's something that animes do. They just drop you into this world that exists for a reason or whatever, and there's no history or backstory to it.
Yeah.
You're just following them along and learning more as you go. It's like they'll have the tutorial moment where somebody finds something out about somebody and they talk about, oh, you didn't know that? Well, that's because they can do this, this, and this, and this, and because of the fall that happened 200 years ago. But that's like 10 episodes in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's so many things in the movie are very tastefully done. Mm-hmm. They really are. Again, I don't know if it's for everybody, but I really did enjoy the movie. I actually wished I could have gone and seen it again before we did our review.
I'm really sad to see, though, that the Rotten Tomato scores dropped on it.
Yeah, I noticed it's kind of got mixed reviews.
It just dropped below, I think yesterday or the day before, just dropped below the 60%.
Oh.
And once it gets into that 59 whatever, it gets the green slime.
Really?
The Rotten Tomato.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of sucks.
I don't think it deserves that.
No, I think it's a great example of what anime live action adaptation should be.
And how stoked would you be because this superhero?
Okay, I need to go look at Ghost in the Shell, which, by the way, I'm sure I discussed it when I was in doing our review before. How much I love the original Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
The anime. I hope that one has just the biggest herd of a tomato score.
Yeah, because
if
it's worse than this.
If that's got a higher tomato score, then I'm going to be pissed.
That one is going to be tricky because, so I've heard with the Captain Marvel,
which I'm really excited for.
I'm really excited for that too. And it's not that far away. That people are giving it pretty much good reviews, right? But there are people that are driving down the Rotten Tomato score and whatever. And I've heard that those are people that wanted the sexy female and whatever, and she's not, which I'm stoked for. If that is the case, I'm all over it. That's great.
Yep.
But I wonder how much the Ghost in the Shell might keep its score because of that.
Yeah.
Because she's comes across way more as a sex symbol in that movie than Alita does.
Yes.
Right? Which is true to the anime, at least I've never watched any, which I think Alita, there's only an OVA. There's a 2-episode thing you can watch.
Okay.
Other than that, it's all manga. But she is sexualized to some degree in the show, or in the movie Ghost in the Shell, right? So that's not terribly off from that source either.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've wondered what's going to happen after the superhero bubble pops, right? Because it's can only stretch so much, man, and we are inflating the hell out of that thing, right?
Well, marketing and stuff seems to learn. Look at DC. DC's even learning finally and
Yeah.
evolving, and they're matching what the audience wants, not what their
Their
dictators
algorithms say they
their
should do.
dictators say they need to do.
Yeah.
And they're starting to listen to the people. And as long as they stick with that, I think we'll keep getting quality content. It might not be the forefront. It might not be the frontline thing that we're getting now.
Yeah.
But I don't
The billions of dollars a year
I don't
industry.
think it's going to burst and fall away like the movies for guys who like movies did. I mean, that's completely gone. That genre is no more.
Yeah.
I mean, you have
Well, I mean, come on, we still get some.
Get the
They're still making
Expendables.
Transformers, and they're still making Fast and
I'm
Furious.
talking about like
and-
Conan the Barbarian type stuff.
Okay, like
You know,
80s action movies.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
80s and early 90s action
Yeah.
movies. That was like the staple. We got like a dozen of those every year.
Oh, totally. Yes.
You know, and that's what we're getting for superheroes now. But I don't think they're going to fall off to the point like that. I think if anything, they're going to take a step back. Something else is going to come to the forefront. Maybe westerns will come back. You know, but if
What if it was like animes and other, like they branched?
There you go.
Maybe that could be a way to even branch out the comic book thing, because I mean, essentially they are Japanese comic books. Mm-hmm. I would love to see that get branched out, and not that I want this massive connected universe of whatever, because again, part of what makes Alita so great is maybe I should sum up with like the editing of Alita is done well.
okay, the tomato meter's 43 on Ghost in the Shell live action.
Okay, good. So it is lower. Nice, nice. I really, to sum it up, if you're a fan of anime at all, even if you've never seen Alita anything and you don't know anything about it, but you're a fan of that like 90s era anime, you're not going to get anything as good as this live adaptation. This
No.
is the cream of the crop right now.
Right now, yes, for what
Which I
exists.
think-
But I think this sets a standard for other things to follow.
Totally. And I think you should also be aware, even if you are a fan of anime, that because it is such a great representation of it, it brings all the faults of that with it as well.
Yeah.
Right? Which I think those could discourage people that aren't anime fans. But if you are, you're fully aware that those should be in there. They're not lost in this live action adaptation of it. All those, the annoying parts of an anime, the awesome parts of an anime, like all the parts of an anime are in there. Which, as a fan, I absolutely loved it. It's really, really good. I'm loving this ride that we're on for the movies we've watched this year so far, the super nerdy movies. But again, it's like, and I love that it's been anime so far, right? Just nail it so far. It's really cool.
The one article I read, actually I saved it on my phone. I haven't read the full article yet.
Yeah.
But I just read how they do a quick little blurb about just this is what sums up in it, and then anyway, the quick blurb on it.
Yeah.
Was stating that the original creator of Alita watched the final product because it was after it released, after the main red carpet release. They were talking about it, and he said he saw it and said that he couldn't have made it better himself.
Nice.
So I was like, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, when I watched the interview with Robert Rodriguez, he talked about him showing up. I feel so bad for not knowing the guy's name. It's terrible. But the original creator guy,
I'm the worst person when it comes to names, so if you can't remember, I won't.
I definitely won't be able to spell it. But in that interview, they actually shot when he mentioned that he came and gave us his blessing, and like he was like that was really important to him, and they showed scenes of him on set, like walking around with them and like pointing at stuff or whatever, but that he was legitimately there. He wasn't just saying it, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a genuine sense of feel of passion for the people that made this movie, and they cared about what they made. I think that comes across in the movie. They cared about the people they were making the movie for. I think that comes across in the movie.
That comes across hard. They cared about who they were making it for.
Yeah,
This was definitely made for an audience.
Yeah, and I think that's where Ghost in the Shell really failed, right? Is that Ghost in the Shell put in those moments to hook the people that they were making that movie for, but it lacked the substance that the people they should have cared about would have appreciated, right? And they more went for that mass market. They did things to cater to them, where I wish they would have just forgot about that a little more, and those key moments needed to stretch longer. There were a few seconds here and there in that Ghost in the Shell movie that, I mean, I was fine with writing out the next 5 minutes of garbage to get another one of those, but it wasn't 5 minutes. It was this drawn out garbage fest to then get another 2 seconds of that awesome live action scene that I cared about, right? This one is, if anything, the opposite of that, right? You get this long drawn out awesome anime thing with a few seconds of kind of garbage in here because now it's a movie and they got to edit or do whatever, which I think you have to be aware of when you go into it, that they are summing up this massive episode arc into a movie. I'm not sure how far into the series this goes. Like, I'm curious if the manga, it has to keep going after that, right? Like, there has to be more manga story that they could do in a sequel.
I think there's a ton, but they don't follow the manga anyway, from what I understand. It's like they just they use the world and the main character essentially.
Yeah. I can't.
And there's parts of it and stuff that are there, but like from what I understood in that article that I was reading before, they're talking about.
It's probably mech.
Yeah. Are we still going? Oh yeah, we're still going. But let's say they were talking about the blood ball or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
it's not Powerball.
I think it's blood ball.
Powerball's the lottery.
Powerball's the lottery. Yes.
Okay. It's the thing I never win.
It's the one you want to hit.
Yeah.
But blood ball I think existed in the manga, but it wasn't like the core thing.
Okay. But even if it was like it was the core thing that got her advanced into whatever, and let's say that was like the first 10 issues. Like that does come up and it is a relevant thing to then move on to the bigger story that is the majority of the manga after that.
Which is standard anime trope.
Totally. I really appreciate that it is emphasized so heavily in this first installment then.
One thing about anime that bugs me a lot is they'll focus on that at the beginning of something, of an anime. It's like, this is his reason for living. This is why he does this. This is his whole being. And then all of a sudden, we're going to completely ignore that and go do this.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I give it a lot of credit for really good editing. I think this movie is edited really well. For what they were trying to work with and who they were trying to cater to. I give a lot of credit to the editing department of this movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I think people should check it out. Again, I even think the people that aren't anime fans, go check this out. If you like it, check out some anime.
Yeah.
I keep talking with Slade, speaking of Slade, that he should check out some anime because part of the reason one of the things he's such a big fan of with comic books is the lore and the drawn out, like this thing references way back to this issue and this, and like it's all interconnected and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's anime. Like that is like a DBZ, especially like you run into the like lineage of families and this connected story that this guy way from the past has now come back to do whatever. And the way you're talking with the Powerball thing, where it's like, it's such an emphasized point, but then drops off because this bigger thing comes along that actually ties everything in. And like, if the lore part of it is there, like anime is all about lore and like that in-depth part of, at least I guess that's personal, but good anime for me anyway. It has all that kind of cool stuff that makes you want to care about it all. So I encourage people that aren't a fan of anime to go see it. You might hate it, but then you'll know to maybe not pursue anime in the future. But you might love it, and then I really do think you should check out anime.
But I said anime, and like to be clear, this is shonen. This is actually considered boy manga, up to 13 years old.
Yeah.
You know, or young adult, maybe 15 most, but that's the market it's going for.
Yeah. The scenes in the movie,
gives you the mentality of America today. So
yeah. and I think the movie represents that well because it does have those juvenile moments in it that you could like be watching this with my little nephews, but then it turns around and it has those anime moments where I'm almost like, it's not like it's super bloody or gory, but it's pretty violent and like deals with some pretty heavy topics and situations in it that I don't know if it's necessarily for them. Right? Yeah. But it does have all that cutesy, like, little kid stuff that I love is actually in a movie. Anytime a movie makes me feel like a little kid and I'm watching it again, I'm entertained, extra points, man. Oh, yeah. I love that about it, right?
It's all about nostalgia.
Totally. I give it a big thumbs up. I really do. I think it's really good. If I was to put a score on it, I think... Man, I wish I knew what we rated. That should kind of make sense
why all the war movies were so popular for the last 15 years.
What?
War movies. War movies were a huge thing for like the last 15 years, and that makes sense. The generation behind us was post a war era.
Oh yeah, totally. So, well, that's what I keep saying. As far as our like nerdy era that are just like so engrossed in, like we're all just, this is a heyday, right? It's going to end and transition to that next generation.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get Pokemon.
Yeah, totally. Which I don't hate the trailer.
I know, I don't either.
Right? I don't hate it. I will totally go see that movie with my nephews who are obsessed with Pokemon. I don't think it's gonna. I'm not gonna go back and watch the anime. That's one where I'm okay that it's not rigidly following the anime because I don't really like the Pokemon anime.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd be curious to talk with. We should have Mick on maybe for that show because I think he's younger than
definitely
us,
that generation,
and
yeah.
he was that generation. We should have him on.
Your brother was too.
Yeah, he was. Maybe we'll do them all. We'll have us all on. We'll talk about the Pokemon movie. We'll be from the generation of not caring about Pokemon anyway, and maybe enjoyed it. And they'll be the ones that are like, "We loved this. This was the thing we cared about. This movie sucks." Right? Like, who knows? I'd be curious.
I know,
to
it looks
hear
great,
both
doesn't
sides.
it?
Yeah, I was like, I actually don't think it looks that terrible.
Yeah.
So let's see. If we put a score on Alita, I'm gonna give it. Man. I do think it has issues, for sure. But I want to give it, man, I'm sitting at like a strong 8, I think.
Oh, really? You're going higher than me.
Yeah? What were you going to give
I was going to give it a solid 7. It is good.
Okay. I was thinking like an 8. I think it's, as far as anime stuff now, I think it's great. I think it is the best example of a live-action anime we've gotten so far. At least Americanized.
I think for being... if we're going to base it straightly on just the fact that it's an adaptation movie. Ooh, excuse me again. It's an adaptation movie. Dude, this is so far totally the unicorn.
Yeah, well, I would agree with that too.
But
it has some issues.
But as a movie as a whole, and as a story that I want to watch and everything else, I got to give it. I'm going to go with a solid 7.
Okay, I think 7 is completely fair.
It's a good movie.
I think if I'm giving it a score that reflects just the average listener or just the average fan of movies, I would not give it an 8. Right? But coming from, I can't help but have some nostalgia, love affair with this movie because I am a fan of anime.
I'm trying to keep that separate.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to bump it to the 8. I really think, for me personally, it's an 8. But I've already said so many times, if you're not an anime fan, this movie might be the totally wrong movie for you. But maybe you're not, and you watch it, and you should then watch some anime if you like it.
So, how do I put this? There's a lot of movies that I go back and watch. Okay, so like one of my favorite movies of all time is Down Periscope.
Okay, terrible movie.
Awful movie. I would give that a 6.5 at best for a movie, but it's the movie I've probably seen the most of any other movie.
That is hilarious. That is a horrible movie. I wouldn't even give it a 6.5, I don't think.
Oh, no, I'd give it a 6.5.
Yeah, right. Well, and I have those movies too. Totally.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that it's like it's a guilty pleasure thing. It's like I love it. It's great, and I absolutely love this movie. But I understand its flaws and its faults and its problems, and that's kind of part of the reason why I like it too.
Yeah, I would totally understand if somebody went and saw Alita and came away and was like, I don't get the movie. I don't understand it. It did not. It was so much CGI. It doesn't. The ending was garbage. It doesn't entertain me. Like I would totally. I sympathize with you. I could see why you would think that.
Yeah, beer fridge beer for an example.
I want to write our scores too before I forget.
Oh, okay. Beer fridge beers, for example. We had a lot of beers.
6.5?
Or no, I give it a 7. Solid 7.
7. Solid.
There's a lot of beer fridge beers. You know, it's like they're beers that we'd probably rate between 6.5 or a 7.5.
Yeah.
But then there's a ton of beers that we've put 9s and stuff on. But what's the beer that we go grab? We grab that 6.5 or 7 beer.
Oh, totally.
You know, that's the one we go back to. And you know, we're not saying that those are bad numbers. They're
well,
good.
And to be fair, if I drank the 9 beer every day, it would become a 7 beer, right? It just it would lose its mystique that it has, right? It would suddenly be
Clearly.
gone. Totally. Yeah.
So,
Speaking
anyway.
of beer, we did say we were going to talk about Netflix and Marvel splits, but
we talked too much.
We're like over an hour, which is awesome.
Yeah.
We had some great banter about Alita. We are still going to watch Batman Ninja, not Ninja Batman. I kept saying it backwards, but I actually have a copy. I'm going to give to you so you can watch it.
Good.
And then we are going to come back together and discuss that movie also. But before we wrap up the episode...
You're going to make me turn my PlayStation on.
Yep, I am.
Damn. All right.
What do you think of your beer?
I actually think this is really good. It's a solid beer. And I think this would be a beer fridge worthy beer.
I totally agree.
It's
a good starter beer.
I think this is this is a great beer just to have.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, you can drink a few of them.
I don't have nearly the garbage mouth breath that I thought I would.
But it's definitely gurgles and
Yes, we burped several
gurgles
times.
and pops. Yes.
Yeah. I actually really like it though.
It's crisp. It's clean. And it
all the
stays
way
that way
to the end.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I give it big props.
I do.
If this is the bought out version, maybe good things are in the future. Like they're doing okay. I didn't get like a super like cheap alcohol-y flavor from it or anything. It still tasted really good. I think I'm gonna give it like 7.5.
Oh wow, nice. I was gonna go solid 7 on that as well.
Okay, 7s.
So
To all the nerds,
through all the fuzz,
bottoms up.
let's get Nerdbuzzed.
I have to go pee. Shocker, right? Shocker.
Oh, so we made it over an hour, and you didn't do that yet?
I didn't do it yet.
Wow, that's a first.
And outro.
Talking about beer.
All right, say bye to everybody.
Talking about
Bye. There, I tried to do my best Jack impression.
Nerdbuzzed. Marcus and Jeremiah, you're on Nerdbuzzed. Let's get Nerdbuzzed.
Did you stop it? Or is it still going?
I didn't hear you.